Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. This week, ARM's Motsepe predicts a successful charter and land outcomes. Anglo commits to ambitious sustainability strategy, and Exxaro's coal rapid loadout projects are under construction. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer unpacks the headlines. Welcome, Martin.
Morning, Sashni.
Now, ARM's Patrice Motsepe is expecting a positive mining charter outcome, and he's also asked the private sector to take part in debates around expropriation of land without compensation.
Yeah, it was very encouraging because he rose these issues. It's not as if we questioned him, which we normally have to do to get political output out of him. He started the meeting with this whole issue of the Mining Charter 3 and the issue of expropriation of land. So he is convinced that there will be a positive outcome. Now, he has expressed these convictions in the past. You know, when the issue of nationalization of mines was around, he actually didn't express such a strong conviction, but as we know, there were activities in the background which made sure we didn't have nationalization of mines. And when this issue of nationalization of property came up, he was absolutely emphatic. He said that will not happen. So hopefully we've got a scenario going forward where there's going to be a lot of discussion that the people affected by any expropriation will not be affected in a way that's going to really hurt South Africa. You know, he was emphasizing the fact that South Africa as an important investment destination is crucial. You know, if we're going to enlarge the middle class in South Africa, you have to have that investment. Every country in the world that has actually built its middle class has had external investment. So he's emphasizing that point, and he's expressing the absolute conviction that we will reach that point where the mining charter will be a document that actually encourages investment in South Africa, and that the issue of expropriation without land will be done in such a way that it benefits South Africa's food security, that it benefits economic growth. And he made the point that South Africa is for everybody, you know, black people, white people. He did express great sympathy for the landlessness of blacks. And that is an issue we've got to deal with because it has been around for so long. We've had so many different bits of legislation that have never really dealt with it. So we've got to get to that. But we note that a lot of talk is around the expropriation of property. And perhaps we've reached a point where all those people in Soweto who are sitting on state land, you know, actually get their properties in their name as a private ownership situation rather than the state owning the land in which they're living. So it could be broader than we think. But the conviction of Patrice, and he does have a corporate input, and he's encouraging all the corporates to also give input, is his conviction that this is going to be good for South Africa, which is an important statement to make because there's a lot of debate around it at the moment.
Now, moving on to Anglo American, they are taking an innovative approach to the environment, community development, and trust and transparency in the sector.
I was very encouraged by this document from Anglo American because it is quite ambitious. I mean, in this document, they're saying that for every one on-site job, so for every one mining job on site, they are aspiring to create 5 off-site jobs. That is quite an ambition, and it's an important message that we must create jobs outside of the mining sector that are linked to mining. And if they can achieve that, I think it'll set a pace for a lot of the other mining companies. And then, you know, they're looking at schooling around their particular operations. And they're saying that their ambition and their target is to be within 20% of the top schools, top state schools. So their community schools must be within 20% of those top schools, which is a great thing for education of people around the mine, which is always important to get those people, you know, developed. And then, you know, there are a whole lot of other issues around greenhouse gases and reduction of greenhouse gases by 30%. Well, we hope they use some of their own platinum to do some of that. And then saying that, you know, they will actually use 30% less energy, and in water scarce areas, 50% less water. This is setting a great pace for the mining industry, and it's an important statement for them to come up with. They're also conforming to the United Nations goals for sustainability. So the mines are thinking big, they're thinking long, and they're thinking very positively. They can make a very positive contribution if they follow these dictates and actually achieve their goals.
Now on to Exxaro. Their coal and rapid loadout projects are underway, but they are also looking at more coal projects.
Yes, so Exxaro is a black lead Johannesburg Stock Exchange listed company. It's got a very interesting approach to business because it knows it's in a commodity that is vital for our livelihoods here. They've got fantastic contracts, with Eskom. They're the biggest supplier to Eskom, and when you go along to Matimba and you'll see the other big power stations coming up soon, but Matimba is the one that's operating. It's quite impressive to see how well structured all the supply is and how it comes into this power station. It's like clockwork. So they've got a very good operation going, but they are realizing that if you look 40 years hence, coal might be in a different position entirely. And so they are making sure that they get into the fourth industrial revolution at the same time. But you can see that in coal itself, they are not holding back and have begun to spend this 13 billion rand on their coal projects. And you can see that they're exciting coal projects. I mean, the biggest one is at Grootegeluk. It's GG6. It's going to be soft coking coal, about 1,700 tons a year minimum, and spending about 4.8 billion. So it's a lot of money going out, and that has begun. Construction has begun now. It's not just talk anymore.
Yeah.
And you can see the same thing happening at Belfast and in Mpumalanga, 3.3 billion rand. And that's going to be very important to them because that coal is of a higher quality. So it can get them deeper into the export market, which they're looking for in a big way. And you've got 7 projects in all. So the one that is very interesting because they need the logistics and they need that rapid loadout. They've signed the long-term agreement with Transnet, and we've been hearing a lot about that, but now we know this is under construction, no longer talk. So we can see that we're going to have coal companies that really work well to keep supplying us and keep the lights on here in South Africa and all the energy need, but at the same time they're going to look long so that their shareholders will not be shocked as the technology changes are introduced in the world.
So there's some exciting changes ahead.
There are, Sashni, yeah.
Thanks for speaking with us.
It's a great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.